The groups were protesting the police. And so that was actually really something that was quite different for us.
Calling it a challenging year, Calgary Police Chief Mark Neufeld says that 2020 brought the service the opportunity to listen, learn, and grow. But that 2021 is going to bring with it challenges we can't even understand. The Black Lives Matter movement came to Calgary streets this June with several YYC Justice for All Victims of Police Brutality marches that saw thousands in attendance.
The members did a great job of continuing to engage people and engage positively with the crowd, make sure that they were able to protest and demonstrate and move around and have their voices heard. And I think, that's why we saw a lot of those actually being quite positive and quite well received here in Calgary. And so I'm really proud of the way that we were able to manage that. And in the background then, we've really tried to engage the organizers and people who were feeling marginalized and feeling like there was improvements needed in policing so that we can actually have those dialogues and see what we need to do.
Neufeld says changes to systemic racism don't happen overnight, but there are short and long-term commitments in place.
During the protests, we heard concerns. One of them was around the school resource officer program. So we committed to doing an independent review of the program as well. So that's ongoing right now. We heard that it would be helpful for the police to collect race-based data. And so part of that is so that we can understand where there might be over or under representations of marginalized communities in certain types of enforcement or certain types of interactions with the police, because frankly, we didn't have that before. And so that evidence that should be available wasn't. And I think good evidence in that regard actually leads to better public policy.
Neufeld has been vocal about finding money in the police budget, which could be better spent on mental health initiatives.
Trying to push for more of a law enforcement public health intersection, and saying that there's a number of calls that we go to as police that I think represent what's become an over-reliance on police. And mainly, Tara, I think it's after 4 o'clock in the afternoon and on the weekends when some of the services that are regularly funded may not be available to people. When we heard this summer about the community talking about things like wellness checks and the fact that sometimes there are bad outcomes from police involvement in wellness checks. And there's no question, when you look into the research, I think in Canada, we don't have issues like the US, where we see certain portions of the population, say Black or Indigenous, being overrepresented in some of the use of force. What I think the bigger risk is, our data shows, is mental health. So there may be opportunities for other agencies to be able to respond and provide some of the services that we're providing now just by being the de facto 24-hour-a-day response to virtually everything.
And there's no greater time to be thinking about how we help the thousands of Calgarians struggling with mental health issues due to the pandemic.
It looks like there's a light at the end of the tunnel in terms of the pandemic, but I think there may be a hangover or a looming mental health sort of implications that actually sticks around long after. And so that's actually one of my concerns going into 2021, is just what kind of impacts are those going to be, and what impacts will they be on our community and the police service.
In Calgary, Tara Overholt, City News.